The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selena Mackenzie.
Our final guest has written the biography of Sylvia Moy, Motown's first certified female in-house producer and songwriter, and one of the authors behind classics like My Sherry Amour, Uptight, and a slew of other time-honoured tunes. To tell us about her book called It's No Wonder, welcome to the show, Margena Christian.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Right then, I mean, we mentioned My Sherry Amour and Uptight, so she worked with Stevie Wonder.
Yes, she worked with Stevie Wonder, and that's a bit of an understatement because she helped Stevie Wonder during that crucial sweet spot, which wasn't always sweet for him, where she helped him transition from that little Stevie Wonder stage into Stevie Wonder. And she did so working closely with him. And it all began with a groovy song called Uptight.
Ah, brilliant. Everything is all right.
All right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad to say that some of the people that she worked with, we know them. They're very well-known names now, but she's not so well-known, is she?
She's not so well known, and that's the irony of it. And it's not unusual for songwriters and producers to be unknown. So that part isn't unusual. But what is unusual is how she made history in so many ways, pioneered and opened doors for so many women, not just in Motown, but in the music industry in general. And that she's not as well known in that regard. And that's what stands out.
Yeah, and I would imagine back then it was difficult for a female to do that sort of job.
Yes, it was very difficult. Some things I observed were patterns. And as it related to female songwriters, most of those women were married and they were partnered with their spouse. And when you were partnered with a man during that time in the 60s, 50s, it was a lot easier. But it was more complicated to find your own way if you were not partnered in that regard. And for Sylvia Moy, she was solo. And so while it was difficult being a female songwriter, it was even more difficult trying to even think of or be considered to be a producer. So that's what made what Sylvia Moy did so unprecedented, especially during that time.
Well, yeah, because it was amidst racial strife at the height of the civil rights movement, wasn't it, as well?
Yes, it was. So not only was she dealing with race issues, she was also dealing with sexism. There were power structure issues, and then just the roles of women in general as it related to the music industry. So there were multiple layers of obstacles that she had to constantly navigate, all while just simply wanting to do something so wonderful and beautiful, which is creating music.
And how do you think she did that, Margena? I mean, during your research for the book, did you get to know her personality?
I got to know her personality, and I did not get to know her personality by having met her in person. I never had that pleasure, but she blessed me with something even more pleasurable. I was able to learn and find out about her while doing this research. And I'd like to say her spirit would always come to me. You know, you hear about 3:00 a.m. as the bewitching hour, but she faithfully, we wrote faithfully, and I could feel her presence, her spirit, and I learned so much about her as a person. She was very laid back, very mellow, but she was a thinker. And she was not one who moved on feelings, but she moved on facts. And she was just a wonderful woman who did so much. And many people mention and observe that she was quiet. What I found through my research is just because you're quiet doesn't mean you don't have anything to say, because she did so many interviews throughout the years, and I found them in some of the most odd places and just about every book you could imagine, places where people wouldn't even think to look. So I learned a lot from her. She guided me throughout this process, and she still guides me. So what a wonderful woman Sylvia Moy was.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And she must have been quite a strong character, because in all this adversity, what with the civil rights movement and being a female in that day and age, you know, she never gave up, did she?
Oh, she never gave up. And there were times where it got difficult. And that's a great observation on your part. There were times when it got complicated, but she would get saddened and overwhelmed by things, but she just kept pushing. She just kept moving along no matter what was going on, no matter what was happening. It was as if she had faith. And, you know, faith is you don't see what's going on, but you just trust the process. And I would say that Sylvia Moy trusts the process more times than not. So her faith really carried her through, and as it carried Stevie through as well.
And you mentioned that she was single. Did she ever have a relationship?
Oh, yes, she had a relationship, and she actually had a child as well. And she was told that her child died shortly after giving birth, but she never believed this. Until the day she died, she always held on to hope, and always said, I wonder where my son is. Oh. And so they say that a mother knows. And sadly, only one person really believed her. And that was, someone who was there with her at the time. But she did have a relationship, and she wrote about love. So you can't write about love unless you know about that. And so that was something that she did often in her music.
Yeah, of course. And what made you decide to write it, Margena, and how did you actually do all the research?
Well, I had no clue who Sylvia Moy was until the end of 2021. We were dealing with the pandemic, and like so many people, I was glued to social media. That was my outlet and portal to the world. And I happened to have seen on both Instagram and Facebook a posting, a beautiful picture, which is classic, of her in the studio with 3 members of the legendary Funk Brothers, Motown session musicians, and Stevie Wonder on a piano stool sitting next to her. It's a beautiful picture, the only female in it, but her face seems to speak so much. There's something she seemed to have been saying. And when I saw this image of her, so many people not only talked about her beauty, but they talked about there was something in her eyes, almost a sadness. And they wondered, what is this? And why didn't we know more about her? She made history in this regard, but we don't know her. And that stood out to me as well, because I came from writing for African-American pioneering publications. And the first thing I did was did my research to say, well, if anybody wrote about her, I know these publications would have. And when I did not find any articles or stories about her, it really made me start to dig a little bit more.
Yeah. Are any of these photos in the book?
They are beautiful photographs. And the photograph where she first spoke to me is in the book as well. Yes, it is.
And I'm guessing she must have won quite a few awards.
Oh, yes. She won several awards throughout the years. There's the BMI Awards. And then Stevie, the songs that she did with Stevie were nominated for Grammy Awards as well. It first won actually for Uptight. And so this woman, her track record, the awards, the honors and accolades, and one accolade that I'm so blessed and happy to know that she was able to see through was to be inducted into the prestigious Songwriters Hall of Fame, where she was only the second African-American woman to be inducted at the time when she was.
And we mentioned Stevie Wonder. Did she work with any of the other greats like Marvin Gaye?
Yeah. Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, she returned the favor. Marvin Gaye was one of the people who helped to discover her. And She returned the favor and helped him with a big old hit, along with a woman named Kim Weston, and they did a duet of a catchy song called "It Takes Two." So she worked with Marvin Gaye and repaid the favor. And so Marvin Gaye, she also did wonderful songs with Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, specifically "My Baby Loves Me," a beautiful song. And so she also did a song with the Isley Brothers. It was one of their biggest and only major hits while they were at Motown. "This Old Heart of Mine" is "Weak for You." And so she did work with many other people. And and that was the wonderful thing about her career. She proved that she was solid and that she could do hit songs. And then she started working with the one and only Stevie Wonder.
And sadly, she passed away in 2017.
Yes, she did. She made her transition in 2017.
It's a shame, isn't it? But did she stay in the industry for the rest of her life, or did she just not?
Oh, she stayed in the industry for the rest of her life. As a matter of fact, she had her own production studio that she had built in her home, and then used that facility specifically for production work, where locals and others who were in the industry actually worked at her studio as well. And so she continued to work in the industry, and she worked with other people, and she continued to produce and write. And then she also worked with organizations to help nurture and foster others, specifically teens and those who were at risk, because she wanted to show the power and beauty of music and how music is healing and helpful. And so she was able to do that as well.
Yeah, she sounds like a great lady, and she certainly broke some barriers.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She opened doors for those who are still walking through that door. And still, while being a female producer during that time was difficult, it's still very difficult and complicated. There are but a handful, if probably less than that, of women of color who are producers. So when she was doing it in the 60s, she was really like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I'm sure she was. Well, for our listeners, we're selling the book, as always, on our website, Talk Radio Europe. It's called It's No Wonder, The Life and Times of Motown's legendary songwriter Sylvia Moy, and it's by Margena Christian, who we're speaking to now. Margena, do you have anywhere we can find out more about you? Are you on socials or a website?
Yes, I'm on all of the socials. I am on Instagram. I'm on Bluesky. I am on X, formerly Twitter. I am on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. And you can find out everything as well on my website, which is www.margenachristian.com. So anywhere, hey, Google me. You'll find me as well.
We will do. Well, I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you so much. And we are going to play a Stevie Wonder song, because why not? We should do. We should play a Stevie Wonder song. Thank you so much for your time, Margena.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.